what are contrasting colors? What are complementary colors? How do you use them in your creativity and in your artwork? We'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Hi, I'm Tim Longwell with Longwell Art, where we're helping you regain your health and happiness through creativity. So what is contrasting colors? What are complementary colors? For that, we need to go back to our color wheel. Now, the color wheel, as we covered in the earlier video, which I'll link right up here, we showed you how to make each of the colors in the color wheel so that you could use them to replicate any color you see out in the world that you want to duplicate in your artwork. Now, if you'll notice here, how complementary colors work, and I will show you more detail here in a moment with paint, is basically the way it works. A complementary color is directly across from one another in the color wheel. So blue and orange would be a complementary color, yellow and purple would be a complementary color, and red and green would be complementary to one another. I'll show you how that works right here. So we'll start off, we'll put a square of orange, just a section of orange. Add some blue around it. And today we're working in acrylic colors. But the principle works the same whether you're using acrylics, oils, pastels, and colored pencils. Now, if you notice how brightly the orange stands out against the blue, if we reverse that and make a blue square, a little too much water in that brush still. Then we add orange around it. It's still the same principle. They complement one another, so that depending on which one you have, it can draw attention to or away from a given object. Colors I'm working with today are what we call staining colors for the most part. They're real heavy in pigment, so they're a little harder to get out of the brush when you change colors. The same principle works when you're using green. You just use water for acrylics and a brush to clean it up. Then if you'll notice with your red, how they make one another pop. And again, same effect. Depends on where you want to draw the attention on which you'd use more of. Got to get the brush good and cleaned out for this one because of the next color we're using is a lot more sensitive to other pigments, and that is a yellow. There we go. But we may see a yellow here. And its complementary color is purple, known as a violet. And again, depending on which one you use, on how it affects. But they complement one another. They go together well. So that you can use them freely together next to one another in your artwork. Now, one of the factors you have to think about in your using your colors next to one another, even though, and how much you use in your painting, is warm and cool colors. Now, your warm colors are the brighter side of the spectrum of light. Those will be your reds, oranges, yellows, and light greens. Whereas your red violets, purples, as some like to call them, blue violets, blue, and shades of darker green, turquoise, blue-green, and green, they lend to the cooler side. Now, what we mean by that is if you look into a distance, and say you're looking in a valley and you're looking out at the mountains across from you, the further away the mountains get, or the canyons if you're looking up a canyon area, the paler they get, the more blue they retain. That's because as our eyes in the atmosphere filter the light that is coming in, the farther away it gets, blue is the last color to be filtered out by the atmosphere. The warmer colors, the reds, the oranges, the yellows, bright greens, those we're going to be more aware of up close. So even in a field covered in red flowers, the red flowers up close to us are going to be bright red. The ones farther away are going to pale to pink or barely see them at all. So you want to be careful in your artwork. If you'll notice, these examples seem overpowering. And that's because too much use of a warm color can overwhelm, depending on what effect you're trying to achieve in your artwork. Or a small amount can draw attention. You want the viewer to look here in the painting. So you can use your warm colors to draw attention from the edge of your artwork into the subject of your artwork. Now, the one thing that you have to watch out for, though, is there is an exception to the warm color, cool color spectrum, and that's with what's known as a phthalo blue and what's known as an ultramarine blue. An ultramarine blue, get some paint on here. Come on. As you can see, it's a lighter blue. Whereas a phthalo blue, I still got some of that ultramarine in it, brush I think, is a darker blue. Ultramarine is considered a cool blue, so it kind of breaks the rule between warm and cool colors, but only when comparing blues. You got additional blues that will brighten towards the light side of the spectrum in your cobalts and ceruleans, and there's what many people call a sky blue, and then you'll get colder or cooler in colors as you add colors like Prussian blue and Payne's gray, which is a blue-gray. And that's the only exception to complementary cool and warm colors. Now you can use the two together. You can use a lighter blue next to a blue one, and achieve the same effect as you do using your complementary colors, your cool colors and bright colors respectively, to draw a subject in. And that's complementary, warm and cool, and contrasting colors is the only thing we need to cover. Now, what is contrasting colors? Well, contrasting color would be a color that stands garishly against one another. So, for example, a purple next to a green isn't going to work so well. See how they contrast because they're both too close to the same spot on the color wheel. You can also add another phase of contrast by using your warm and cool feature on your colors. Now, what will happen with your contrasting colors, here they become complementary. But if you mix them, remember that muddy color we spoke about before starts to show up. So you have to be careful on how you mix and place your colors together in a painting, because it can have a dulling effect and lose the life or flatten your artwork. And that's complementary colors, contrasting colors, and warm and cool colors. So if you have any further questions, be sure to ask in the comment section down below. Click the subscribe button if what you found today was helpful, and hit the notification bell so you know when we upload new videos or go live. We have extra videos over here for you to help with tips and hints and tricks. Enjoy what you're doing. Remember your complementary and contrasting colors, your warm and cool colors. And in the meantime, you be sure and have fun.